I don't know if I'm wasting my time, but I'm going to pretend I'm not, because I don't know if most folks are in the position or put in the position where they can understand kind of how sometimes there are things that appear to be far deeper than they actually are. That there's a complexity to something which you'll never hear on the Harvey Levin show or TMZ or any of the morning hip hop rap shows. What you will hear is a veritable endless cacophony of semi-literate gibberish. I put one up on my Twitter X, whatever account, and I'll be damned if you can understand what this fellow's saying. Good luck. Good luck. And that's kind of what we're saying here, because what this is a whole bunch of people who are what you would call racist, laughing their ass off. The same way, have you noticed on X and YouTube, this seemingly endless, again, this word, this cacophony of fat black women invariably losing their minds and fighting. There was one I just had to show you. There's this at a Chipotle. She apparently did not get enough food. She's gargantuan in her girth. So she goes behind the counter and starts beating this woman or the people furiously because hasn't got enough food. And this plays into the they're savages motif. If you can't see this, and there are people laughing at this. They're not saying, this is Cassie. They're saying, look, you're gonna hold on? You're gonna let it break off? Did you ever hear anything about would you have charged Ike Turner with trafficking? Ike Turner? He did worse stuff to Ellie Mae or whatever her name was, but Tina Turner. But he, this is a different story. Why this? Did you hear them yesterday? They were talking about the consensual stuff. Cassie, this is all low rent. This is human squalor. These are people I don't know. None of these people are brain surgeons. I don't know what they would be doing if it weren't for this. I mean it. And they'd be, robbing liquor stores or working at a gas station. And by the way, lest you think this is a racist connotation, I said this a lot of times in the old days about certain country singers, David Allan Coe and others. Say, what were these people? What would Merle Haggard have done had he not been for country music? He was a burglar. So it's not just this, but look at these people. Look at them. This is the subtext. And Americans are laughing their ass off. They're sitting there, and it's a. We didn't see this with OJ. It's not all black folks. It's this hip hop stuff. I don't know where they get these folks. I hope this is the most infrequent of this. But these folks. So we're going to be talking about that today. And I recognize it goes over a lot of people's heads because today it's more important for us to look at kind of the way things are in the most simple of forms possible. Simple. This is it. What if? And this is important to know. These are the questions. Why is the federal government suddenly fumbling a case they've spent years building? Why? Is this prosecution about justice or is this headlines? I tell people, and I'm going to try to, I will break down the headlines or the charges, but I don't think it's working. And I tell people that, and to me, it's so obvious. Maybe I'm fooling myself. But if somebody told me, no, they're not charging you with anything. Is this case collapsing under its own weight? I mean, what is, or was it built to collapse? How is this work? How does this work? Has anybody read the indictment? No. It's just the headlines. And if Diddy walks, will it be because he's innocent, whatever that means, or because the DOJ is incompetent, or both? Is this a criminal trial or some public relations? Why is this? And also, from Hollywood to hip-hop, what is it about fame and power that seems to breed predators? What is it? We've always heard about the casting couch. It wasn't just a punchline, it was a warning. And it's important for us to take a walk through history, because see, if you step back from this, there's so much to be learned. But we don't live. People will spend hours talking about the Tootsie Roll reference because it's low-hanging fruit, because people are stupid. And it's not just Diddy and his folks. These people are stupid. They're really stupid people. And they're fronts for a world that, I don't know what it is. Did you ever involve yourself in the world of professional wrestling in the 70s? These people, this is degeneracy. This is degeneracy. It's any group you get into for the first time. And it, to me, is fascinating. The implications of it. This is a joke. There were kids being trafficked all over the world, and nobody's talking about them. We're talking about this idiot, this fool, this. Why? I don't know. There was some guy the other day, I don't know who he was. I don't know what he said. Each one more cretinous than the other. DDG, DMG, BB Cuddy. But I don't know who these people are. And I'm not saying I don't know who they are, because that's surprising. We walk by Lincoln Center and you have people appearing, the Juilliard this or that, or appearing. Cecilia Bartoli or opera singers, I don't know. So just because I don't know them doesn't mean anything about them. But this is, it seems like more stupid gives rise to more stupid. That this is the theme. That the more stupid, the more completely, eventually they're going to grunt or click or make noise. Seriously, this is the most incredible thing in the world. But here is the most interesting part, which I find fascinating. This is something. It's the evolutionary. It's a notion of predation. Animals don't do this. From an anthropological point of view, historical point of view, the uncomfortable truth is that sexual predation, particularly involving women and children, has appeared in nearly every recorded society, suggesting that it's not a modern aberration, but maybe a deeply embedded aspect of human social history. And some scholars have argued for the longest time that sexual coercion and dominance behaviors may have some kind of evolutionary underpinnings. Why are we seeing more of this? Why? Why is it? Why do people look at children in particular and say, let's get them? Women, I'm not even suggesting that, but at least you can say, well, she's roughly children. It's like looking at old people. Is old people? What is this? We can get into this anthropological. Is it the male competition for reproductive access? Is that it? This doesn't mean that this behavior is morally defensible, but is that it? Is it biologically explicable? In evolutionary terms, dominance hierarchies, mate guarding, and power displays. We've seen this not in just humans, but in many primate species. Among early humans, those who controlled access to mates may have gained reproductive advantages. Is that it? Setting up a pattern of linking power and sexuality. Is that it? I don't understand it. Does that explain the freak-offs? From the harems of ancient empires to Caligula, concubines of monarchs, Roman slave markets, medieval child brides, we still have them. Sexual exploitation has been institutionalized across millennia. Why? Anybody? Rulers, warlords, the elites, the aristocrats, often treated women and children as like chattel, like commodities, commodified extensions of their power. In cultures, the word I can't say it, but it rhymes with grape, and pillage and warfare, it wasn't just tolerated, it was weaponized. What is it about us? In the 20th and 21st centuries, power and predation evolved into the casting couch, the celebrity cult, the media-fueled sex industry. Hugh Hefner, Harvey Weinstein, and now, allegedly, Combs, reflect not isolated into this, but a cultural, maybe a tolerance for these charismatic predators. Is that it? Especially when they're cloaked in wealth or fame. Do we countenance this? Do we look the other way? And then there's the popularity, if you think about this, of sexual exhibitionism, hypersexualized media, attempt at normalizing exploitation, especially young performers and the like. This may be symptoms of a broader societal thing. So do you think anybody's going to be talking about that? No, absolutely not. That's never going to be the subject matter. One love, Lionel, choo choo. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Let me get rid of that one. You got that? Let's look a little deeper. What is this really about? Why are we, and every time this happens, we habituate to it. There were anthropologists, these folks, Claude Lévi-Strauss, Michel Foucault. They argued that systems of power shape how sexuality is experienced and how it is expressed and how it's abused. And in many ways, this predation that we're talking about, it's really less about lust and my particular, concubinal and concupiscent needs, and more about control and legacy and domination. Maybe that continues today. Despite modern law. Remember the picture of Montel Williams with Kamala Harris. Remember that? Kamala. And they were like their babes, they were saying next to him. And they represented his chattel. You see the people like the Tate brothers. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. This, who I think is the most despicable. This new kind, we talk about a new kind of woke culture, but there's this new kind of male thing. The Dave Portnoy, cretinous, boorish, anti-intellectual. These are things which I tell people this, and by the by, there's also this thing which is the most important, which I tell people. Look at how we're getting into this kind of Neanderthal about being what my handwriting is. I make a note here and there. This preoccupation with testosterone. Have you noticed that? We get on this stuff about testosterone. It's some of the most funny I've ever seen this. Pilgrim says, riveting as always. I thank you. I think, but thank you. We have this idea about what is manly. It's weird. Joe Rogan, they had the other day, Lex, you know who's really trying to do it? Lex Friedman. I think he's great. Look, I'm doing MMA. Look, I'm getting a black belt. Look, I'm playing the electric guitar. Look, Mom. Look, Dad. Look at me. See, I'm cool. What is this? This testosterone thing. Is this, in some particular ways of thinking, is this the way they think men act? Is that it? Is that it? I'm dead serious. Is it the hip hop community? Is it the black culture? What is this? Why are people acting like this? Why are we seeing more and more of this? But here's the best part. We saw it with Hugh Hefner. They're going after him because he's black. In part, you can't miss this. You can't miss this. It's an absolute truth. It's a conspiracy, so to speak. Every now and then there's an exception. Look how when they like somebody, boy, they like you. And when they don't like you, look what they did to Alec Baldwin. Look what they did to Harvey Weinstein. You see, while laws and ethics and, well, we used to call them enlightenment ideals, but while they've tried to curb this kind of predatory behavior, the impulses are for behaviors that are older than Hollywood or celebrity. Until we as a human species reckon and deal with the historical fusion of sex and power and access, predators are going to be finding ways to exploit, every kind of structure there is, up to and including children and men, whatever. I mean, this is the way this is. I mean, it is unbelievable. And look at how this has gone back since the beginning of time. And there's also something which is very interesting too. And I want to bring this one up to you. This is interesting. There is a group of folks. Do you remember the notion of this thing called the groupie? Do you remember groupies? Do they mean anything to you? Do you remember them? There was a time I remember they were very, very, very proud of this. They were proud of these people, these groupies and the like. And they were in the 60s in particular. There were these folks who came about, and I don't know what the word is. I'll give you an example. In the 60s and 70s, there was a kind of a cultural, I was reading about it, a cultural free-for-all where boundaries, legal, moral, sexual, drugs, the counterculture, much of that CIA and Tavistock and, the Frankfurt School and all that jazz, but much of it designed, okay. But they were often, these rules were blurred. And they were ignored entirely. And it was free love. And it was a whole set of... And there were groupies who were, in fact, underage. And it was not only common, it was openly acknowledged. It was normalized and even romanticized in music and in memories. Nobody charged anybody with trafficking. While there were no exact numbers that existed, numerous famous groupies from that era have admitted that they were as young as 13 to 16 when they began relationships with adult rock stars. Laurie Maddox, or Maddox, depending upon how you put it, was 14 when she was reportedly involved with David Bowie and Jimmy Page later on. Jerry Lee Lewis, remember him? I just remember that one. Jerry Lee. What was she? His cousin? Jimmy Page, who kept her in a hotel room under near constant surveillance to avoid legal exposure. There was a Sable Star, 2 R's like Ringo. Another prominent figure in the LA scene was around 13 to 15 during her peak groupie years. I was reportedly involved with Iggy Pop, Johnny Thunders, and other Johnny Thunders. Baby groupies, as they were called, were often teen girls, some even junior high, who waited outside clubs like the Whiskey A Go-Go or the Rainbow Bar and Grill. Remember this? And it was rampant. And the relationships were so common, they were practically a feature of rock culture. The term jailbait was used then in interviews and even song lyrics with little shame or concern. Media, bands, fans treated these encounters as perks of fame. Remember Cream magazine, Rolling Stone? They refer to these girls with tongue-in-cheek reference to venues like the Continental Hyatt House was called the Riot House. They fostered the scene where underage girls would be expected to be present and service band members, the plaster casters and all these. I mean, this goes back forever. And I want to know, what is the reason for this? Raul says men are validated for their peccadillo conquest. Well, yeah, that's true, sort of. Remember when women tried it? Remember when the Bangles and it, or the Go-Go's, they're called sluts and tramps. It's like Skeeves and Joan Jett and Lita Ford and that kind of. But there's something more important. It was brutal. It's part of who we are. Animals don't do this. Why? That's the thing I want to know. Why? And we're talking, and by the way, the Diddy case is not even so much about underage. His was, so what if you want to have an orgy? Hugh Hefner, no problem. What is it about this? Look, I don't want to be one of these people who always brings up race. I don't want to be one of these people who says, but there is a racial component to this. And there's a lot of people who really enjoy seeing these, because they've put it this way. Whenever, how do I say this? Whenever the entertainment world tries to deal with the Diddys and the like, they never really paid a lot of attention. So the trial hinges on Ventura's credibility and the prosecution's ability to prove coercion and criminal intent. No. It's the charges. Barry, listen to me again. 3 charges. Number 1, violation of the Mann Act, the White Slavery Act of 1910, the one that they got Jack Johnson and Little Richard and R. Kelly on. Transporting women across state lines for purposes of prostitution. Do you hear what I'm saying? That's what this was. That's the critical thing. That's the part of it. That's number 1. Any evidence of this so far? No. Anything about Cassie being flown or traveled? No. Anybody else? Number 2, a racketeering conspiracy, an organized enterprise, a criminal enterprise designed to do something. What was it? Anything like that? Nope. It was Cassie, who was basically a piece of meat that Diddy had claimed, did all kinds of things, and to make sure she maintained favor, kept telling him constantly, I love this, which brings the whole issue of consent into play. Pilgrim says, why can't we talk about world regional IQ averages? Because I don't want to lose everybody. You want to talk about world regional IQ averages? Does anybody want to what? What? No. I think I know what you're saying, but I'm not sure. But the answer is no. We're not going to talk about that. That would kill any kind of show. I wouldn't suggest that. The issue here is you're looking at this thing, and every time you see him, you're seeing some other done. Who are these people? They bring them in. Nobody cares. And then you got people like Harvey Levin who are exploiting this. They're acting like they actually care about Diddy, and like they care. They don't care about these people in the least. They don't care about them in the least. This is just, it's news and that's it. And they bring these family. They are so, put it this way. It is almost like whenever you give unsophisticated, and I go back to people like Loretta Lynn. There were people from the woods. There were, very good people, but uneducated, real, like the Calicax and the, very, very, again, I don't keep saying low rent, but lower IQ'd, certainly uneducated folks take nascent iodine. Why do you people all of a sudden think you're taking iodine? New subject. Why are you taking methylene blue? Why? Why? Why are people all of a sudden imbued with the idea for your IQ? No. Why do people think they know about these ideas? All of a sudden, somebody says, hey, seed oils are bad. Okay. I don't know what a seed oil is, but if that's what they say, my favorite are cholesterol people. These are my favorites. You don't need statins. Really? Really? You're going to kill people with this stuff. People are geniuses all of a sudden. I love this. And when it comes to this idea of oh, you cannot believe what is being said. And by the way, disinformation, I don't think that there should be any rule against it. I know I'm changing the subject, but I love when these geniuses come along and all of a sudden statins, for example, have saved more lives. For unstable plaque, oh, nothing like it. Christian Jana says, is Diddy's goose cooked when evidence of transporting escorts across state lines for freakiness is presented? I don't know if it's, but it's a good question. Who's transporting what? Am I facilitating, if I set up a hotel to have a party, am I acting in this respect? Am I? I don't think so. Am I doing it? I don't think so. I mean, do I really, it's the idea of transporting. I don't even know where this works. How does this work? It's different. So I don't know. The idea of the old days of actually taking them and moving them across. Look at this. Lionel sounds stuck up. Johnny Cash is simpleton? Yeah. Remember when Johnny Cash first came along? When he was in the Air Force? Yeah. Did you ever hear his bio? Yeah. Remember that? Johnny Cash? He went from the Air Force and all of a sudden he goes into this stuff. Later on, he became one of the most important. But yeah. What's the matter with you? Does everybody think that by virtue of the fact they're on this, that they just know everything? I mean, I'm stuck up. Do you, honest to God, not know the stories of these people? Let me ask you something. Is it the idea that you are cloaked in the veneer of anonymity, which gives so many people such power? Statins kill people. That statement, a non-physician, for example, all of a sudden opining about for unstable plaque, dear God. And people who have genetic predispositions to hyperlipidemia and hypercholesterolemia, it's a very different. You better thank God for that. But no, some guy sitting around, walking around in boxers, clicking away, is an expert on statins. All of a sudden. I saw it during the OJ trial. They were experts on trial practice, rules of evidence, blood splatter, forensics. And the most important, when it came to the forensics, those same people who, when it came to Epstein, couldn't understand the fact that he was murdered. See, we live in this world where we're just experts. That all of a sudden somebody's into ice water plunges. All of a sudden, that'll last for a while. And then later on, that'll change. It's just new things. Oh, I got to get that one. Well, Joe Rogan does it. Did you not know about this? Did you ever hear about the Schwitzes? No, I know. But I'm an expert now on it. I'm an expert on it. And I'm going to take methylene blue and I'm going to take non-colloidal silver. Why? Because they had it on TV and he mentioned it. And why are you taking this? I don't know. I thought it's the most incredible thing in the world. I've got somebody who went to a GNC and they asked a question. I said, what can you not get here in food? What? Name something you can't get in. Name it. Something that's not bioavailable, that some phytonutrient that you cannot get. What is it? What? Tell me. And he had no idea. But it looked good. It looked good. It's amazing. For example, I saw this the other day. Marine lipids, fish oil. Oh, they've said repeatedly it does de minimis effects on anybody's life. So anyway, I said, what do you think fish eat? What do you think they eat? Plants. Anyway, but nobody cares. But by God, overnight, that was the thing. Remember when Oprah pushed resveratrol? That's my favorite. Resveratrol. What's resveratrol? That was the stuff that makes grapes dark. And they said, well, red wine's good. No, that's not. No, no. It was the idea of hormesis. It was what happens to the outside. It's why bitter greens taste bitter when shock, and it's the same reason why people are involve themselves in intermittent fasting, which is very good. But all of a sudden, they had no idea. So they said, well, let's drink wine because that's what the Italians drink in the Mediterranean diet, and they're healthy. And they just said this. They just created it. They created a narrative. And that's why meat is good for you, because the Eskimos eat blubber. They just make it up. They just looked up and they said, I'm going to create a narrative. And there's no basis for this. None. I just say this because I like it. I like it. And I like the idea of this keto. Ooh, I like that keto. I mean, the Atkins diet? Well, yeah. Edie says, by the way, Mr. L, in regards to Diddy, they're missing the forest for the trees. In the UK, perps can be prosecuted for undue influence. Yeah. Undue, I don't understand the context of it, but that's interesting. This is a very simple thing here. Is there a racketeering enterprise? No. Is there a racketeering conspiracy? No. No, absolutely not. None. None. It's not here. It's not here. Now, remember one thing. I want to tell you again. I'm going to say it again for you. I'm going to say it again because I love saying it again. I was reading again yet another article about Mike Lindell. They're so pissed off because he's still in business. They're so pissed off because everything they tried to do to destroy him didn't work. Well, you know what? We're here to help. When it comes to comfort, support, and a good night's sleep, my friends, MyPillow has revolutionized the way millions of Americans rest their heads with unmatched quality, cutting-edge design, and a commitment to American-made excellence. MyPillow has become a household name. And now with MyPillow.com/Lionel, or using the promo code Lionel, you can unlock exclusive discounts and deals that bring comfort and savings right to your doorstep. That's right, my friend. Mike Lindell and the team at MyPillow aren't just selling pillows. They're on a mission to transform the sleep experience with a wide variety of products beyond their signature pillows. Whether you're looking for supportive adjustable pillows, luxurious Giza Dream sheets, cozy towel, mattress toppers that cradle your body in comfort, MyPillow offers it all. And with their 60-day money-back guarantee and a 10-year warranty, you can be confident that MyPillow stands behind every product they sell. Now, why MyPillow stands out? Let me tell you, unlike generic pillows you grab off a department store shelf, MyPillow is customizable and engineered to cater to different sleep styles. Whether you're a side sleeper, or a back sleeper, or a stomach sleeper, their patented interlocking fill technology adjusts to your specific comfort needs, keeping your neck and spine properly aligned throughout the night. No more waking up with that sore neck, no more tossing and turning, just the restful, rejuvenating, and exhilarating sleep that you deserve. And it doesn't stop at pillows. MyPillow's Giza Dream sheets, made from the finest Egyptian cotton, offer a smooth, breathable, and luxurious feel, turning your bed into a sleep heaven. So right now, my friends, do the right thing. Go to MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel. It's easy for me to say. MyPillow.com, promo code Lionel, or call 800-645-4965. Simply the best. Trust me. Now, I know it's difficult for people to not pull for Diddy, but to suggest that he's not being charged with anything. He didn't do anything. Why are they going after him? Let me ask you this. This is the most important. Do you think, by the way, I was shocked to hear Hakeem Jeffries was at Freak Offs. Read more about this. I want to hear about, I'm not necessarily sure about that. I am not necessarily sure. I really, I'm not sure. Okay. This is a I just be very, very careful. Because not everything is true. And not everything. How about the idea of Comey? Do you see Comey, that 8647, right? So they're making a reference. They're saying that Comey is suggesting that this is a reference to 86 or number 47, who was President Trump, right? 47th president. He is being investigated by the Secret Service. Nothing will come of that. There's another guy too, some other lefty person of sort. I don't know who exactly, but he's going to be doing this. And the question is, do you think it means anything? Why Sean Martin says, jail Comey. What would you like to jail him for? Now, I don't want to be one of these people who says, the Constitution applies, but let's jail Comey. Jail Comey for what? Let me ask you this one. You know that judge who was arrested for violating, the judge who was arrested for either not arresting or whatever it was. You understand this? Okay. I'm not sure whether a judge can be arrested for merely questioning whether she has the right under due process considerations, whether it's an administrative order, administrative warrant. There are some things to be said for that. But that's not the way people want to hear it. They view her as being a lefty who is contrary or acting contrary to the policies of President Trump. At least that's what they're saying. That's their whole thing. Okay? And I appreciate it, and that's great, and that's wonderful, but she may have a point. I know nobody wants to hear about that. There are some important points. What I suggest you do is please today focus on some very critical things. Stop taking your silver and your blue, especially you're taking silver. Oh my God. Anyway, stop for a second. Read what is happening as we speak, or as of today. In fact, it might be still going on, regarding Turkey, Russia, and Ukraine, and putting an end to this. Trump's whirlwind is going to be absolutely beyond anything anybody has ever seen. Listen to what I am saying. What Bibi Netanyahu must be thinking now is, it's over. It's done. Like that. It's done. Qatar, UAE, everybody, Saudi Arabia. Oh my God. Turkey. It's, they're talking about the fellow who slaughtered Alawites and Christians in Syria. I mean, Trump it was a 180 like you can't believe. Are you following this? No, you're still following this horse shit about pineal gland decalcification, the third eye. One of my favorites. Absolutely. I look at this, I'm thinking, where are these people from? This is the reason why they hate conspiracy theorists. All of a sudden, I'm fascinated. I'll bet you the number of people who are overweight would throw it. They're not talking about that. None. I'm just saying, I'm changing the subject. It's so interesting how people will look at me and I'm saying, you're 50 to 60 pounds overweight. Easy. And you're talking about pineal gland decalcification? Yeah, well, that I can talk about because I don't really know whether it's working or not. Wait, that's a different story. I need you people to always give me amusement. Seriously, amusement. There are, all my life, sometimes I'll meet the paranormal, the parapsychology, people who believe in crystals, people who believe in channeling, who believe in astrology and this and that, the super hyper religious, people who walk around with talismans and medals and this, and they have incense and they believe in symbol and symbology, and they will have the most arcane references to that which is physiological. Pineal gland decalcification. One of my favorite. What about the calcification in your arteries? I don't know what you're talking about. 800. The number of people. Oh my God. Do yourself a favor. Forget it. I don't even know why I bother. It's a free country and you should be able to say whatever you want. But I've never, it's like there's a cult, the health fantasy. Barry says there's also, counting on Aubrey O'Day's testimony, she's a loose cannon. Can anybody add anything regarding racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, and Mann Act violations? I don't care who it is. If a bailiff, I don't care who these people are. Cut Up says, all my comments are rejected in Super Chat, except for this one. And by the way, thank you for your most kind gift, young lady. Thank you. I don't understand this. I don't understand how this works. I was on with Sean Atwood the other day, and he's got a list of all these words. We can't say this, but other people say it, but he can't say it. I don't get this. I was on with again, Redacted, and I don't think they have these problems. It's the strangest thing. That's why, remember, WABC, hang on a minute, Raul says, will a casino be built in Hell's Kitchen? Not in Hell's Kitchen, but Times Square might be. I think they might very well be. That's all we need, you know what I mean? That's all we need. What am I trying to say? Yes, what am I saying? 2 to 5 tomorrow and Sunday. Be paying attention. We don't have algorithm concerns. None. There's no here. And this wonderful platform of free speech can't say this, can't say that. It's the most. It is beyond weird. That's all I'll say. Beyond weird. Okay. That's all. I don't understand this. I don't know what the Cut Up could have possibly be saying that could in any way have been prohibited or verboten. It doesn't make any sense to me. In any event, my friends, have a wonderful, wonderful day. Don't ever change. I mean that sincerely. Please follow Mrs. L at Lynn's Warriors. Some great stuff. Don't forget our other channel, Lionel Legal. And also make sure you subscribe here to Lionel Nation, because I don't know when I'm going to be on next. I might just open up the mic and just start doing it. And also, please research every single thing you put in your body. Trust me. Just research it. Spend some time. Fads are good. Remember, I'm telling you, one day they're going to find out what tattooing has done to people in terms of the ink. The ink, to have your entire dermal real estate covered by this. What if it's not toxic? I'll be shocked. Ink. Have you ever rubbed something on your hand and the absorption is incredible? Nixon 6. I hope so. I'd like to see that. Have you ever just seen when you rub something in your skin, just rubbing it, what it can do, the absorption? Imagine ink at these places. Cut Up says, AI watches us like a hawk with low social score. I could, but I mean, maybe. I think a lot of times it's a poorly constructed algorithm. That's what I think. In any event, Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you so much. Have a wonderful and a great day. Enjoy today. Do so. Remember, be careful what you put in your body. That's all I'm saying. Read up. There's no reason not to research. And to all our good friends, what am I saying? To Cut Up and to Christian Janis and Raul Rodriguez and Barry Taylor, Edie Crowley, Pilgrim Media, of course. Thank you so much. And Thomas Almy. Thank you so much. Have a great day, my friends. Until then, remember, the monkey's dead. The show's over. Sue ya. Dat.